Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Quick Trivia with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Brever. This is a regular program here on Channel 955. I hope you're having a good time with it. While I was waiting for you, I was just doing a little bit of reading. You all know that I like to catch up on history whenever I have a chance. Just reading The Long Gray Line, a history of West Point cadets, the class of 1966. This actually is in one of our libraries right here at East Castle Place. I encourage you to get out and get a library book. Take advantage of these things. There are things we can do during this virus that we don't have time for normally, and this is one of them. Grab a good book, take it back to your room, and read it, and bring it back and let someone else use it. Let's get right into trivia, shall we? You remember that last week we had 3 questions for you, and you could answer either 1, 2, or all 3 questions. Whoever had the most questions right was our automatic winner. If there were 2 or more people that got the same number of questions right, the winner would be the first person to turn in the correct number of answers and the most number of correct answers. Now, I'm happy to say that we do in fact have a winner this week. But first of all, what I would really like to do is to welcome some new players. We had first-time players, the Hills, we had the Sunbergs, and we had Augie Mortiaro. So 3 new people competed this time, and I'm happy to say that we did in fact have a winner. So we will be giving away our bottle of Francis Coppola Chardonnay. Whoever the big winner is really going to enjoy this. It's a lip-smacking bottle, and I know it's a wonderful vintage. 2017. I don't think they made any better. Let's get right to it, shall we? We had 2 winners again. We had 3 questions in last week's trivia question. First of all, we had our What Am I? If we zoom in on this a little bit, you'll see that it's a red square that has a double-sided eagle, basically, is what it looks like. I gave you a clue during last week's show that this was actually a national flag. 2 people got that question right. It was, in fact, the flag of Albania. And congratulations to those people. Let me see, is that? No, we had actually 3 people got that right. It was the flag of Albania. So congratulations to those of you that figured it out. The second question that we had a little bit of presidential trivia tied to it. President Hayes is credited with starting a tradition on the grounds of the White House during his presidency. It was an Easter tradition, and President Hayes claimed that the inspiration for the idea came to him as he was walking in downtown Washington, D.C. Some people came up to him and said, you know, it would be really great if we would do this. And he thought it was a really, really great idea. He did it, and it's been held ever since. It is the Easter egg roll. Those of you that guessed Easter egg roll, congratulations. That was the winning answer. And then our third question, continuing with trivia around presidents, I revealed to you that there was a long and significant tie between presidential history and military history. In fact, many of our presidents rose to the rank of general in the United States military. And I asked you how many presidents there were that rose to the rank of general. The correct answer was 12. George Washington, Andrew Jackson, William Harrison, Zachary Taylor, Franklin Pierce, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James Garfield, Chester Arthur, Benjamin Harrison, and Dwight Eisenhower. All 12 rose to the rank of general in the United States military. Those of you who guessed 12 were correct. Now I explained to you that there were 2 people who got all 3 questions correct. And for the first time in Quick Trivia with Mike, we had to choose the winner by whoever got the answer first. First of all, the 2 people that got them right, is our returning champion, Kelvin Schrader, and a first-time player, Teresa Sundberg, got all of the answers correct. The winner was the one who got the answers in first. And that winner was our first-time player, Teresa Sundberg. So we are going to be delivering this wonderful bottle of Francis Coppola Chardonnay to Teresa later this week. Congratulations to her, and congratulations to everybody who played. And let's get on to this week's trivia now, shall we? First of all, let me explain to you that we're bringing out the bottle of Pinot Grigio once again. You'll remember 2 weeks ago we offered this as a prize and we did not have a winner. We're going to offer it again this week. Maybe someone's going to get lucky enough or interested enough to win the Pinot Grigio this week. But keep calling in with your answers and someone's bound to win it. Again, 2018 vintage of Pinot Grigio. Let's take a look at this week's questions, shall we? Let me flip to the proper page here so that we can get right to it. Let's stick with presidential trivia for a moment, shall we? You all know that the Second Amendment of the United States requires that the president be a citizen of the United States and born in the United States. Although the Second Amendment was adopted at the adoption of the Constitution, it wasn't always a fast and true issue for presidents. In fact, not all presidents were born in the United States because at the time of the founding of our country, these people were already alive. My question to you is, who was the first president who actually was born in the United States? Put on your thinking caps for that one. Who was the first president who was actually born in the United States? And after that time, the Second Amendment of the Constitution has held a strict interpretation. My second question for you involves a little bit of history about the city of Milwaukee. You all know that Milwaukee was formed as a city in 1846. We've had a gentleman here by the name of John Gerda many times who has talked about Milwaukee history. A wonderful speaker and a good friend of mine and a good friend of all of you. I know you'd love to have him back again sometime. Maybe we will. But let's explore a little bit about the history of Milwaukee and come up with a trivia question. Milwaukee was formed around the confluence of three rivers: the Kinnickinnick, the Menominee, and the Milwaukee River. Milwaukee also was established in its present location because of a wonderful harbor on the shores of Lake Michigan. You all remember in the 19th century, the superhighways of that era were water. Rivers and lakes, that was how people got by quickly. It was either that or you had to walk or ride a horse. Given the fact that the Kinnickinnick, the Menominee, and the Milwaukee River was a fast way to move product from the interior to the shores of Lake Michigan, Milwaukee grew up as an early trading center in mid-19th century. There were three actual enclaves, three separate towns that merged in 1846 and became the city of Milwaukee. What are those three towns that merged and became the city of Milwaukee? That is your question number 2. A little bit of Milwaukee trivia there. If you're a fan of John Gerda, you probably can answer this one right away and call in with your answers. The third question that I have for you today involves a little bit about the pandemic that we're currently experiencing, the coronavirus. You all know that major plagues have swept through humanity throughout history. You know the Great Plague of the Middle Ages. It wiped out half of the population of Europe. In 1918, we have the Spanish flu, which came through and killed hundreds of thousands of United States citizens. We just didn't know how to deal with plagues and with pandemics at that time. And the basic theory at that time was to just wait them out. Whoever's going to get sick and die is probably going to die. Let's just make them as comfortable as possible and isolate them if we can. There was another major medical crisis of the 20th century that came through in 1949. It especially gripped at the hearts of America because it was cruel to children. There were pictures of children in iron lungs struggling to survive and wondering if they did survive what their future would be. I'm of course speaking of the polio plague that came through in the late 1940s. Thousands, tens of thousands of children. It also afflicted adults, but children became the face of that illness because we all had such sympathy and empathy for those people at that time. Not all efforts were put into curing the body, however, during the polio pandemic. Some efforts were put into curing the heart and the soul of people as well. I'm interested in a particular invention in 1949. It was created to give children in particular a sense of wonder, a sense of being able to experience physical activity again, a sense of a future and hope in the future, a sense of playfulness. Ironically, this invention was created by a sufferer of polio as well, an adult who had great empathy for the children who were going through what they were going through. In fact, the very first version of this invention had a graphic of two small children on it. The little boy actually had braces on his legs because he was graphically a recoverer from polio. My question to you is, what was that invention in 1949 as a result of the polio plague that was sweeping America at that time, that was invented to give children a sense of wonderment and a sense of independence, a sense of imagination, being able to go out and enjoy it? Now, if you have 1, 2, or 3 of these answers, get them into me as quickly as possible. We'll close off the competition on Monday. You can get your answer to me in many ways. The first is you can call my office, 963-8425, and leave a message on my voicemail. The second is you can email me, mbriever@eastcastleplace.com. That email will automatically have the date and the time on it, so I'll know if there are ties who the winner is. If I've given you that email address and that phone number too quickly, which I'm sure I did, just go to the front desk or call the front desk and ask them for the email address or the phone number for Mike Briever. The third way you can get your answers in is come to the front desk and write your answers down on a piece of paper. Ask the concierge to put it in my mailbox. If you choose this method, please put the date and the time down so that I know when you fall into the sequence of people who've provided their answers. Well, that's it for this week, folks. The 3 questions that you're charged with answering. Again, we have a wonderful bottle of Pinot Grigio here for our winner next week. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. You now know how to get the answers to me. I look forward to hearing from you. Until next week, I'm Mike Briever. This is Quick Trivia with Mike. I ask you to be safe, I ask you to be smart, and I ask you to be patient. We will get through this time, and when we do, we'll all celebrate as a community together. So long for now, and I'll see you next week.